It's time for our penultimate qualifying heat of the season for Senior Max, and your grid is as follows. On pole position is the 232 of Matilda Olsson with Andre Walter in the 299 alongside on the front row. Then it's Mikkel Tigson, and the first appearance of the qualifying heats by the series leader, Mick Knowlton from the Netherlands in the 294. Then it's Kairo Kivi and Rick Buthorn rounding out the top three rows. Ahead of Robin Knutsson, Patrick Rundqvist, Rolly Lepaj, Mario Novak, Lars van Vak, Piotr Schwizazinski, Una Oksanen, Emily de Hoys, Sebastian Belhosin, Stefan Fortbauer, Jordi van der Eyck, Henry Jung, William Newnham, Julian Verteler, Tim Rolke and Laura Hristova rounding out the 22 strong. So this time it will be 10 minutes plus one additional lap here at Wackersdorf. And it's going to be an interesting one yet again. We still have plenty of points to give away in the two finals tomorrow, but then also the addition of several Rotax Max Challenge Grand Final tickets. So 10 minutes plus one additional lap to go in this particular race. So it's Senior Max. It's race 5 of the day. It's qualifying heat number 2, groups B and C, as both Olsson and Walter will control the pace as they go into the penultimate hairpin, and this will give Matilda Olsson, who set the fastest lap in the first qualifying heat of the day, managing to climb her way back, having dropped down to 11th, up into 6th place. So watch out for the young Swede, and also Walter, the German, to her left. So top 10, it's Olsson, Walter, Tigson, Knowlton, Kivi, Buthorn, Knutsson, Rundqvist, Lepaj and Novak. That is your top 10. So they come around the final corner. We're going to get the racing underway. They are being told to slow down. And now they go into the tram lines. So Senior Max action gets underway for the second time today here in Wackersdorf. Lights out and away we go, heading into turn 1. And there was a massive accident at the back of the field with Matilda Olsson having no power whatsoever. So one driver went over the back of another. And the 269 has, that's Lori Lepaj, has been the earliest casualty. So, and the Finn manages to get the car off the racing line pretty quickly there. But he's okay. The main thing was he got out of the way of it. Well, the thing was he had nowhere to go in terms of someone else coming across him. But the main thing is, and it looks like the one at the car that might have gone over him might have been the 262, and that's Stefan Fortbauer as the leaders are coming across, and there's changes up and down the order. One driver has just lost out 2 places going through into the approach on turn 2 as Walter now leads, and Mick Knowlton, the current championship leader, now up into 2nd position. Or could that be first, I think? I'm just going to wait until they come into my line of sight. And yes, Mick Knowlton is in the lead ahead of Andre Walter from Germany. Looks like Buthorn from the Netherlands has gone with. And the likes of Kivi, Rundqvist, Novak, Matilda Olsson now in 7th position. So that was a very dramatic first corner incident on the very first lap itself. So leaders come across the start-finish line, and Andre Walter is not going to let Mick Knowlton have his own way going through into turn 1. But Walter decides to think better of it. It's strategic at the moment as we have 8 minutes plus an additional lap to go in this second and very explosively charged qualifying heat for the Senior Max division. But Mick Knowlton leads ahead of Andre Walter and Rick Buthorn rounding out the top 3 as they now come into the hairpin section here at Wackersdorf. And the 258 of Rundqvist now up into 4th position, having started in 8th. And Matilda Olsson, I'm just keeping an eye on her progress at the moment. She might have just got past Kairo Kivi for position as well. So Lori Lepaj, Emily de Hoys in the 272 has dropped right down to the back part of the field. And Olsson is now back past Kairo Kivi, and she's actually the fastest of the top 8 at 50.299. as Andre Walter has now taken the initiative and taken the lead from Mick Knowlton. But it is still, we've got a German leading the field and two Dutchmen right behind waiting to strike. Rick Boothorn is just sitting pretty and waiting to see what happens out in front. So running order as we have 6 minutes and 45 seconds on the clock to go here, plus one additional lap. It's Mick Knowlton ahead of Andre Walter, Rick Boothorn in third, Rundqvist, Novak, Olsson, Kivi, Schwizazinski up to 8th ahead of Knutsson, and Bell Hosin, who's moved up from 15th to 10th place as Andre Walter is now having to defend quite sternly from Mick Knowlton from GKS Lemons Power in the 294. But Boothorn is still keeping them very, very honest. I must say the Dutchman's doing a fantastic job in the 293. And out of the top three, Mick Knowlton is actually the quickest of the trio on the last lap around. So Walter is leading going into the penultimate hairpin. But look at the battle at the front. It's not going to be just a three-horse race. It's going to be multiple carts. As looks like Rundqvist is closing. And he was 0.3 of a second quicker than Boothorn. It's now over 0.4 as Knowlton goes for the lead on Walter. And Boothorn's trying to go through. Very stern defensive, very, very aggressive. And that's meant that not just, well, it could have been 3 places lost in just 2 corners. As, that was very, very, very opportunistic there by Rundqvist, who's got past Walter, who's now dropped down to 4th position. Then you have got Novak and Olsson there as well. So the German coming in under increased competitive pressure. But Mick Knowlton's got a little bit of a lead now between himself and his countryman Rick Boothorn, as Rundqvist and also looks like Novak has just tried to get past Walter, who's getting incredibly, incredibly aggressive with his defending right now. And he's actually looking at Rundqvist saying, let's just get after the people in front, shall we? Rather than squabbling about the scraps behind. As the quartet, which has now got, and these positions are changing so quickly, I'm trying to keep up with them and it's not quite happening so far. Matilda Olsson goes up the inside of Novak for position. Now that puts her into 4th place. So nice work by the Swede from Strawberry Racing. She's the fastest yet again out of everybody. She's set the fastest lap in her first qualifying heat. She's doubling up on that performance with a 50.188. And next up in front of her is going to be, well, it's going to be Andre Walter, who's now down in 4th position behind Rundqvist in the 258. Leaders coming through, crossing the start-finish line. 4 minutes on the clock. Knowlton extends the lead to 1.13 seconds ahead of Rick Boothorn, Rundqvist, Walter, Olsson, Novak, Kivi, Schwizazinski, Bell Hosin, Knutsson. That completes your top 10. And as Walter is trying to find a way past Rundqvist for 3rd position, it's going to allow both Olsson and Novak 5th and 6th respectively to try and close up on their on the back bumper, as we still have over 3.5 minutes plus 1 additional lap to go here in this second Senior Max qualifying heat. And Oliver Schubashek is right by me at the moment in the commentary box, and I tell you what, his eyes are definitely on stalks right now, as are mine, as Mick Knowlton comes around the final corner to complete another lap here at Wackersdorf. 3.25 minutes plus an additional lap to go. And Rick Boothorn has just taken nearly a 10th out of Knowlton. Rundqvist just goes and does the his best lap, but 21 hundredths of a second off of the sub 50-second barrier is Matilda Olsson. She is absolutely flying at the moment as Walter retakes 3rd place off of Rundqvist coming through turn 5, but Olsson has definitely got the 2 in front in her crosshairs, and so I think has the 2.64 of Novak. So this fight is not over by a long stretch here in the second Senior Max heat. And Rundqvist nearly outbreaks himself there going into the last hairpin here on the track at Wackersdorf, and that's allowed Olsson to actually close up and is running the slipstream, going across the start-finish line. She's got the opportunity right now. She goes directly to the inside line and goes right past Rundqvist into 4th place. And that's another fast, well, that was nearly as quick a lap as she's done this race so far, a 50.043 from the Swede. So just less than 2 minutes remaining, and the squabbling behind him has allowed Mick Knowlton, the 294, to sort of get away slightly to the tune of 1.2 seconds. Could be a little bit more, as look at the battle for second to fifth position. You've got Buthorn, Walter, Olsson, Rundqvist and Novak. That rounds out the top six. Last time around they're separated by just 1.1 seconds. I think it's going to be even closer as Walter's trying to go up the inside. Olsson's trying to go up the inside as well. The pair swoop past Buthorn into turn one. And I think I'm just waiting, is that Rundqvist trying to get past as well? Not quite, but nearly. That allows Novak to get in the mix as well. So a new shuffle in there as Rundqvist gets mugged on turn four by Novak there for fifth place. So your running order still is Mick Knowlton leading by 1.3 seconds. Rick Buthorn now has dropped a little bit further down the order. He's now down in fourth position with Andre Walter and Matilda Olsson now up into second and third respectively, with just under a minute to go here plus one additional lap. But Knowlton is now in cruising mode. He's got plenty of space between himself and the rest of the field, as the quickest in the top five is still Matilda Olsson. She has shown incredible pace, and obviously with the right knee injury she suffered earlier on this year, the rehab's going well. Let's see if she's wearing that knee brace. She is not. She is pretty much raring to go, and is showing that she can fight with the best of them. And she's right up close and personal with Andre Walter from Germany as we come into the dying stages of this second Senior Max qualifying heat. So 3, 2, 1, time has expired. This time around it's going to be the final lap, so Mick Knowlton will get the last lap board. So just over 1,200 metres here at Wackersdorf to go. Mick Knowlton has a lead now of 1.25 seconds. Well, Walter has had to sternly defend, but Matilda Olsson timed it perfectly to sweep past up the inside, and Walter returns the favour at turn two. And look at the battle behind. It's absolutely kicking off from second to fifth position. And there's a bit of side-to-side contact between Rick Buthorn and Matilda Olsson. She's now lost out down into fourth position with Rundqvist and also Novak at the back of that five-cart squabble, which means that Andre Walter has got a perfect opportunity to take second. But needless to say, when you don't talk about the leader very much, he's doing an absolute perfect job, as there's more squabbles between Olsson and Novak as round the final corner comes Mick Knowlton in the 294 from Holland to take Senior Max heat number 2. Walter from Germany takes second, ahead of Buthorn, Rundqvist, Olsson and Novak. Świeżański takes seventh, ahead of Knutsson, Kivi and Tigson. What an exciting battle royale at the end of the second heat here for Senior Max at the season finale of the 2018 Rotax Max Euro Trophy season here at Wackersdorf. But when it was all said and done, we'll run you through the finishing order right now. That man on your screen, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching downstairs in the bar or you're watching at home, Mick Knowlton from the Netherlands gets another win under his belt in 2018. Second was Germany's Andre Walter by a distance of 1.5 seconds ahead of Rick Buthorn, Patrick Rundqvist, Matilda Olsson, who was up into second past Walter at one point, but ended up fifth ahead of Mario Novak. Piotr Świeżański was seventh ahead of Knutsson, Kivi and Tigson, who rounded out the top 10. Sebastian Belhossin, 11th. Uno Oksanen, 12th. Henry Jung, 13th. Ahead of Newnham, Van der Eyck, Wörtele, Fortbauer, Christova and Rolka, with Van Vark, De Hoys and Lepai unfortunate retirements in the early stages of this heat.